Alrighty. So as you can see from the title, today's focus is really going to be budgeting in general and budgeting when you're going to have a new child come into your life. It can be really difficult just to support one person financially, and then add to that the pandemic taking place, and it's become really difficult just to get those everyday expenses while also trying to pay off that credit card or get some of those school loans taken care of. It's a difficult area to navigate for sure. And just imagine now that you're pregnant with your first child. And the great thing about babies is that they do tend to change everything from the way that you sleep to your general views on life. But unfortunately, your little miracle can also put that dent in your wallet if you're not able to plan. So this training and the point of this information is really so that you as a parent don't feel caught off guard by the new expenses that are going to happen in your life. And the idea here is that with a bit of planning and foresight, your new family can feel confident about just providing the best things that their infant is going to need, especially those first years of life. So today we really are going to learn a lot more about what a budget is going to look like with a baby. If you aren't used to caring for an infant, you might be pretty surprised by all of the little expenses that can add up. I'm going to, again, do a rundown of the major things that you're going to have to pay for on a regular basis, along with an estimate of all of their costs. And then with each of those items, I do want to provide you guys with a little tip on ways to maybe save an extra $1 or $2 when it comes to the things that you're going to be buying for your baby. So first off, I wanted to give you guys just a visual rundown of what life might look like. What are the possible costs when it comes to your new baby? Now, again, these items can range pretty greatly in price through the course of a year. It really depends on the product itself, the brand, the child's needs, and if it's a reoccurring or a one-time purchase. So as you can see, all these categories here are pretty basic, from feeding to diapering and clothing your child, creating their beautiful nursery bedroom, little things like keeping them clean and bathing tools, as well as all that extra baby care and baby gear that you might need. So again, this is just a really rough estimate. I don't mean it to scare anyone or think, oh my gosh, but it just gives a good, fairly accurate and broad view of how much life can really cost when you have a baby in your life. So as the first one was feeding, we will explore that first. So I'm just providing a lot of visuals to back up some of the things that I'll be talking about. One of the most expensive things that we think about is formula. If you're formula feeding, you could spend anywhere from $50 to well over $100 per month on formula. And that really depends on, how much your baby's consuming, the type of formula, and the brand. Depending on your child's needs and their nutritional needs, choosing a generic brand or using a powdered formula instead of a liquid can really help you save some money on this. Asking your doctor if there are any free samples in their office, or reaching out to the formula brand for any type of coupons or samples. These are some great options for you to be able to save some money on the formula if you are not deciding to breastfeed, or if that is not an option for your family. Another thing that tends to break the bank is something that we really don't think about, and those are milk storage bags. When you're pumping and you're storing that breast milk, you're probably going to spend somewhere around $20 for, a package of 100 of those. So just keeping that in mind. One way to really save money on this is to pump milk directly into the bottles, and you want to store that right in the fridge. You can store breast milk in the fridge for, anywhere between 3 to 5 days safely, and you can also freeze that breast milk, and that'll last a lot longer. Another thing here on the left-hand side is going to be baby food. Baby food can be more expensive than you think. You want to expect to spend anywhere between $1 and $2 for each little jar or pouch of baby food. Now, once your baby starts to get excited about solid foods, and that's going to be somewhere around 4 to 6 months, you could be spending anywhere from $60 to $150 per month on baby food. One of my favorite little tips here, and I'm going to show you guys in depth how to do this, but is using what is in your home and pureeing that. That can make a big difference, and it's a great way to give your child the nutritional needs without spending money on that baby food. Couple more items when it comes to feeding your child that you want to think about purchasing. The first one in the middle, of course, is going to be bottles. Typically, a pack of 3 bottles is really only between $5 and $10, depending on where you get it. The amount of bottles you need are really going to depend on how frequently you're bottle feeding and how often you're going to plan to wash those bottles. We know newborns are eaten every couple hours. And so just sort of having that plan in your mind of how much do I need to get so that I have the time to clean those when I need to clean them, as well as just be able to utilize another one as you're feeding your baby. On the left-hand side is a typical breast pump that you can pick up at Walmart or Target. A manual breast pump costs anywhere around $20 to $30, while the electric breast pump is going to be a little more expensive, closer to $100 to $200. So if you're not sure if this is something that you want to utilize, but you're not sure if you could pay for it, I would definitely check with your health insurance carrier to see if that is included in your plan. And finally, on the right-hand side, this is a small purchase that might not seem important. It could be make a big difference when it comes to your stress level and just not having to clean up after your child every 5 minutes, because they are little messy dudes. So you can purchase bibs. You can purchase real good ones in a pack for about $1 per bib, not too bad. And again, makes a big difference when they're making big old messes. So having a couple on hand can really help in those moments. So before I go over some resources, I do want to show you guys just a great resource when it comes to making your own baby food at home. This is a quick video that just shows how easy it truly is to utilize what you might be having in your fridge. So again, that was super quick, but my hope is that you guys can just see the visuals of how easy it truly is. You're really just gonna cut up those vegetables, boil them, and then you're gonna puree that afterwards. And a great tip for storing them and being able to use a big batch for separate feedings is to be able to put those in those ice trays so that you can save those as needed for your kiddo. Now, again, when it comes to food, this can be a big expense when it comes to children. So I do want to share a really great resource out there that can help moms who are looking to be able to provide healthy foods for their kiddos as well as formula. WIC is a wonderful program that is through the local health departments. They're called Women, Infants, and Children, and they provide free nutrition education as well as those supplemental foods for either women who are pregnant, nursing, or have a child that is under the age of 5. What's cool about this is that if you have Medicaid or you're using SNAP or TANF already, you would automatically qualify for these WIC services. Now, depending on what county you live in, I would definitely just recommend, if you want to learn more about this and some of the benefits that you can have through WIC, I would definitely reach out to your local health department in that sense. So next up, clothing and diapers. Babies grow a crazy amount in their first year. Every 3 months, typically they're gonna move up a size. And babies tend to soil that clothing very frequently. So it's really not uncommon as a new mom for you to see your kiddo go through 3 to 5 outfits in a day. Now, if you're gonna buy new clothes from the store, you might spend anywhere from $10 to $15 on a full outfit. Bodysuits tend to be a little bit cheaper, just keeping that in mind as a resource. And you can buy things like baby socks and things like that for very cheap, about $1 a pair, again, depending on where you shop. When it comes to these types of things, clothing specifically, I would say don't be afraid to ask your family and friends for hand-me-downs. I think as a parent, everyone has gotten that point where they bought a little bit too much because they're excited for their baby to come, and then they realized how quickly their child grew out of those newborn size clothing. So don't be afraid to check out some secondhand shops. I know it's tempting to want to buy a bunch of cute little newborn size clothes, but again, like I said, they're going to outgrow that pretty quickly. Another way to save money, again, Infant shoes are the cutest things ever, and they're just fun to hold and squeeze, but they're really not necessary, especially until your infant starts walking and moving around their space. Before we get to the resources, the last thing is diapers, obviously, and the cost of disposable diapers really tend to vary depending on the size, depending on the brand. And it is worth noting that obviously the smaller diapers are going to cost less, but keep in mind that these younger babies are going to go through those diapers way more frequently than older babies. So if you're changing your newborn, and typically a parent is going to change them around 10 times a day, you can expect to use around $30 worth of diapers each month, especially if you're paying around 10 cents a diaper. So just keeping that in mind. A great way to save money when it comes to diapers, if your child does not have any sensitivities to the certain fabrics, maybe sticking with a generic brand to purchase that. You might also get more for your money if you buy diapers in bulk. Again, just keeping in mind, you're not going to want to stock up on the newborn sizes that your baby will pretty quickly outgrow. Now, again, just keeping in mind that your child does not have a sensitivity to a certain brand that can allow you to purchase those off-brand that tend to be cheaper. The last option that's right in the middle is another way to save money. It might be more of a cost up front, but over time it saves money. And this is to purchase cloth diapers. Now these are going to range a little, obviously more expensive, anywhere between $5 and $10 per diaper. Definitely more cheap if you purchase them in sets. And you probably want at least, I would say, 12 diapers on hand. That way you're not doing laundry every single day cleaning those diapers. So talking a lot about clothing and diapers. These are going to be a lot of changing, reoccurring purchases throughout, especially your child's first year of life. So I wanted to provide just some basic resources when it comes to getting some baby clothing, as well as some donated diapers. I tried to break it up into different areas in the metro, just depending on where you guys are at. But in the OKC area, Infant Crisis is great when it comes to that baby clothing and diapers. They typically have a good stock of clothing in anywhere from newborn to 5T. Edmond is another fantastic location that is called All Things Baby. These guys are opened on Tuesdays, and they also provide a lot of donated items for babies, including clothing and diapers. And finally, the last location is in Norman, and this is the Center for Children and Families. They have a baby closet where you can get clothing, as well as a diaper drive where you can go and pick up diapers for your kiddos. So here are some great resources when it comes to not breaking the bank for clothing and diapers. So next up, we're getting to the bigger items, but the furniture items. And as you can see, there's a couple visuals here that probably you're nodding your heads like, yep, been there, done that. So the first one on the right-hand side is going to be cribs. You can expect to spend anywhere between $150 and $400 on a good crib. They really do tend to range. A lot of parents are going to opt for buying a new crib, but just because old cribs you don't know if they're adhering to the latest safety standards. So just keeping that in mind. Another thing that's great to know is that a lot of cribs today that are sold do have the ability to convert into a toddler bed. Now this is a great idea because again, up front it might be a higher cost, but over time you won't have to purchase another bed for them as they are transitioning out of the crib. It allows you to get a lot more years use out of it. Another thing like crib sheets, these are pretty cheap. You can get them for less than $20. You can find a mattress pad or protector for around the same price. I would definitely say when it comes to these, you might not just want to just buy one to save money. You might want to buy a couple. Just having a few spare on hand will really help, just depending on how frequently you want to wash them and how messy your little baby's going to be. And on the left-hand side is a great example of a really inexpensive way to start to utilize safety devices around your home. You could spend anywhere from $20 to $100 on safety gear, just depending on how many cabinets you have in your house, how many plugs that you need to cover, things like that. Now, this safety first option on the left really does a great job of getting you started when it comes to safety devices, those cabinet locks and those plugs, as well as those doorknob covers, things like that. This is a great option to get you started, and it is under $20. So car seats. These tend to be another one, just like the crib, where it's a one-time thing, but it tends to be expensive. You can expect to spend anywhere between $50 and $300 on a car seat, again, depending on brand. As with cribs, it is definitely recommended that parents buy this new rather than used, just to make sure that everything is safe and that the product is up to safety standard. Now you can choose to buy an infant seat. Super easily portable. It's designed obviously to be rear facing. It can connect to a stroller, which is nice. Definitely you can use that for the baby's first year or two. Another way just to think about utilizing this for a longer period of time is to purchase a convertible seat. These are a little bit bigger and they're not as easy to carry in and out, but they convert from the rear facing to the forward facing, just so you can get more years of use out of the seat. Depending on which ones you purchase, some will even convert further into a booster seat once the child gets to that age. So again, after I mention all of these products and items, I do want to attach a resource for families who may not be able to afford or are looking for a donated or free item in this aspect. So when talking about free car seats, things like cribs, maybe even a pack and play, Infant Crisis is another fantastic resource. They receive donations from the public and they will provide the cribs or the pack and plays free to families when they do have them in stock. So you always want to call ahead. And then Infant Crisis also has a bi-monthly event that provides car seats to families. It's a first come, first serve. You pull up to their building. It's a great opportunity for you guys, for families to be able to get that for their child, make sure they're safe without having to spend that money. Another option is to just give your local health department a call and inquire about a free pack and play for your infant. And I put the number for the Oklahoma County Health Department here. You guys might have to look up if you're from different counties where you need to call. All right, so next up, when we're talking about things that we have to spend money on, I hope this isn't overwhelming, but I really wanted to break it down just so that you have a realistic idea of the things that you want to keep in mind when you have a baby and when you're purchasing items for them. So cleaning and grooming. The first thing I think of is, that bath gear that you're going to want. And so infant tubs really aren't going to break your bank. They're anywhere from $20 to $30. And you can buy like those little baby washcloths for real cheap, around $1 per washcloth. This is a great option. And also, if you look online, a lot of parents have become very creative in ways to create a safe environment for bathing their infants without having to purchase a specific bathtub or something related to that. So definitely don't be afraid to check out and ask other moms what has worked for them, what they have been doing, because that's the best way to figure out what can be best for your kiddo. The thing on the right is actually a baby grooming kit. A lot of times these are going to be purchased when your baby's first born. It's going to have things like a brush, a comb, a nail clipper, the nasal aspirator, thermometer. This is actually pretty cheap. This is somewhere around $10 to $20 for this. And you can find this pretty easily online or at Walmart. Again, this is a great way to get all of those grooming needs in a packet that's pretty low cost. So next up, when it comes to child costs, is going to be a big one here, which is childcare. If you are not a stay-at-home mom and you are working and you need the ability to go to work, you're going to have to find some childcare for your child. And it can be one of the most expensive reoccurring costs that new parents face. The amount parents are going to spend varies on the age of their kiddo and where they live and what type of childcare setting that they feel like is the best fit for their kiddo. Again, like I said, this is typically the most expensive type of care, especially when it comes to infant child care. That one is definitely the most expensive just because there are more risks involved and it requires more supervision. Definitely keeping in mind that an in-home child care provider is really going to charge less typically than a child care center. So when you are looking and thinking about child care options for your child, just keeping that in mind, that in-home child care is tending to be a lot cheaper. Definitely look into a couple of these resources that I put here. Rainbow Fleet is a fantastic website as well as a phone number that you can call. They're really going to show you exactly what daycares are going to fall under your qualifications based on your location, your child's age, the needs, whether or not you want to try in-home childcare provider or a childcare center. It's a really great opportunity for you to figure out the best for your child. And they also will show you daycares that fall under DHS subsidy as well, which is fantastic. So it shows here on the bottom that you can apply for childcare services is at okdhs.org. This is another fantastic opportunity. Again, if you're working and you're needing that support, you feel like you're not going to be able to swing it, paying for daycare every week, definitely apply for this and see if you'd be able to qualify for a free or reduced childcare. And as you see in the picture here, it takes a village. So when in doubt, use the support around you during the first years of your child's life. If you have friends or family that you trust to be with your baby, don't be afraid to reach out to your circle. Sometimes a parent just needs a day off, and there are many things that you can do to help with that. There are lots of, for just a day off, if you're just looking to spend $20 just to spend the day alone, I definitely would recommend looking for Mother's Day Out programs that are in your area. A lot of the churches offer that, and they're typically around $20 per child per day. So that's more of a short-term option if you're just kind of like, hey, mama needs the day off, she's stressed, but you don't have enough money to put them in daycare or do something else otherwise. So that's another great option. So when it comes to medical costs, if you are a working mama and maybe you're pregnant or trying to have a child, check with your employer. Definitely figure out how much your health insurance premiums will increase when you do have a kiddo, or if you want to add that kiddo to your policy. Maybe try to save some room in your budget for doctor's office copays every couple months as your baby just fights regular illnesses or maybe develops any type of rash. Things are going to happen. So planning ahead in this aspect can really help. Just keeping in mind another little small cost is that you might be purchasing vitamins for your kiddo. That's not going to be a big cost, maybe $10 every couple months for baby vitamins. And if you really are looking to insure your child medically and you're not sure where to turn, it doesn't come through your job maybe, Sooner Care is a fantastic resource. If you are pregnant, if you have any children that are 19 or under, this could be a fantastic option for you. I provided the phone number as well as the link to the website. And through that website, you can find the information on what those income guidelines are going to look like, just to see if you are in fact eligible, you and your child, for Sooner Care. And then overall, when it comes to medical costs and saving money, just make sure you're taking your child to all of those scheduled child visit checkups so that your doctor is making sure that they can assess the baby's growth, make sure they're healthy, as well as get those vaccinations in on time. Now, this will actually prevent further and more expensive care down the road if you're just consistently tending to your kiddo's needs. So toys. Now, entertaining your baby can be as hard as they're kind of unable to tell you what they like, what they don't like. And when it comes to toys for infants, less is more. Now, there are some select devices that encourage healthy development in infants, but there's no need to overspend, as the child will grow out of interest of the toy fairly quickly. Now, there are toy libraries located in public libraries in the area, and you can borrow and return toys to actually keep your kiddo entertained and stimulated without having to spend money every single time you want to introduce them to something new. Again, resources like Infant Crisis and All Things Baby have infant toys available for free as well. If you are a new parent, you can definitely join Early Birds. It's a fantastic resource if you just Google Early Birds, and they will provide you with a bag of developmentally appropriate toys for attending an informational class. Another thing that you can do is just look up or Google DIY infant toys, or maybe DIY sensory toys. You will find many different options for your baby, just depending on what you might have laying around the house and also what your child is showing interest in. So I quickly wanted to provide a video of how easy it truly is to be able to utilize things that you already have at home to make a toy for your infant.
Isn't it true that we buy expensive toys for our little one and they ended up by breaking it the very next day? Why not make something at home which will be reasonable and surely gonna attract your baby? Hello and welcome to my channel Faridi Cuties and Creativities. Let's make one more DIY today for your little one. We will need some colorful ribbons, scissors, thread, old baby t-shirt and a plastic sheet. Now let's cut the t-shirt from all the three stitched corners so that we can get two separate parts. I have taken 4 pieces of orange ribbon, 4 pieces of red, 4 pieces of yellow, and 2 of purple and 2 of green. Now sew each color ribbon on each side of the cloth. Now move all the sewed ribbon inside on top of the cloth. The second piece of the cloth and the side that you want to show it up, keep it facing towards the ribbons. And now keep the plastic sheet above it and then sew these 3 corners. Now pull it inside out. All the ribbons will automatically come out. And now this remaining open side, we can just fold it and sew it. And this is how it will look. Colorful ribbons and the sound of the plastic that we have attached in the center red cloth will surely going to attract the baby. Let's give the toy to the baby and see how the baby reacts.
As you can see, that was a really quick, easy way using items that might be in your home to create a toy, and the kiddo just loved it. So now that we know a bit more about what to budget for, I did want to provide some resources for creating a budget form, just to help you guys as family members keep track of expenses. Now, the first template here is just a basic budgeting form with the topics I discussed today included on the top left. This option is great because it allows you to complete the form before you spend the money so that you can compare how much you put aside versus how much you actually spent on an item. Now, using a budget form from Google, or if you go to Excel, these are all free, it'll allow you to see a chart of your spending patterns, which depending on if you're a visual person or not, that can really help just to see the changes in those costs as time goes on. The second budgeting form is a great option if you want to track your expenses before your pregnancy, during your pregnancy, and after the birth of the child. This really allows you or your family to really plan ahead when it comes to the cost of having a child. Now, if you are a technology person and don't really feel like this would be useful to fill out these forms with hand, I would definitely check out your app store. There are countless free apps that you can get through your phone to help you track your finances, to help you budget, all of that you can do just right from your cell phone. All right, guys. Well, I hope this was informational. I hope that you learned some tangible things to take home that you can apply with your family or families that you work with. Again, a lot of these principles and a lot of the budgeting support we actually do through the Safe Care program with our families. So if you're interested in learning any more about what that looks like, different ways that we can support families, especially families with a new baby, you can always call me at my direct number, 405-708-2652. And you can email us as well at safecarereferrals@northcare.com. Now, if you were interested and if you know a family who is Spanish speaking only and would prefer this similar program in Spanish, I have listed the information for that below, as well as the number that you need to call. That is through the Latino Community Development Agency.